A stuff sack is one of the more useful and easy to sew items for someone who's new to sewing. And in this video, I'm going to show you how to make this one out of just one piece of fabric.
To begin, fold your fabric in half. Next, sew the ends together with a 3/4 inch seam allowance, backtacking at the beginning and the end to prevent the seam from unraveling. For this project, I'm using the mighty 1936 Singer Featherweight, but you can pretty much use any sewing machine. Next, fold the seam allowance in half, and then fold it again so that it lays flat. Now you can put your piece back into the machine and sew the seam allowance down flat. This will contain the raw edge of the fabric and prevent it from fraying. You've now created a flat felled seam. Now lay your piece flat so that the seam is centered. Using a 3/4 inch seam allowance, now sew this end of your bag closed. Now you can flatten the bag out and treat the bottom seam in the same way you did the side seam. The first and last couple of inches of this seam will be cut off, so you don't have to sew all the way across the seam, but if you do, that's okay. Now lay the bottom of the bag out flat to make a diamond shape. For the size of the bag that I made for this project, I measured in 3 inches and made a mark. If you're making a different size bag, you can experiment with different measurements. Now just sew a line of stitches where you made your mark. You can then sew a parallel line of stitches to add strength. Next, you'll cut off the 2 corners that you just made, leaving 3/4 inch seam allowance. Fold the seam allowance in half, and then fold it over itself again, and then sew it closed to contain the raw edge. I'm using a lightweight ripstop nylon fabric for this stuff sack. It's perfect for stuff sacks, but if the raw edge is not contained, it will fray really badly. Now it's time to hem the mouth of the bag. Just roll the edge over once and then roll it over again and sew a line of stitching around the entire opening. So far, all the work you've done has been with the bag inside out. After you finish this seam, turn the bag right side out. Now you can use your piece of nylon webbing to reinforce the opening where the drawstring will pass through the bag. Sew the webbing to the inside of the bag near the opening. Next, you need to make a hole through the reinforcement and the bag to pass the drawstring through. I used a wood burner to make the hole. You could heat up an ice pick or another sharp object of the appropriate size to make a hole big enough for the cord that you're using to pass through. If you're using a synthetic fabric like nylon, you'll need to use something hot to melt the edges so that the material doesn't fray. Once you have a hole, pass the two ends of your cord through the hole and then fold the edge of the opening of the bag over the cord and sew all the way around. When you've finished sewing the cord channel, put your cord lock over the ends of your cordage and tie an overhand knot with the ends of the cord. Then you can trim the ends off and singe the ends of the cord if necessary to prevent fraying. Then, put some stuff in your stuff sack, stand back and admire your handiwork.
Well, there you have it, an easy and useful project. If you have any questions, post them in the comments below and let me know if you make one and what you're using it for. If you like this video, make sure you click like and subscribe for more. Thanks for watching.